all stand, we'll say the Pledge of Allegiance in a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay. Are there any revisions or changes to the regular or consent agenda?
I actually have a couple. Just to help the meeting flow a little bit better, I'm going to ask to move items B2 and B3 and just flip them so that the hearings are back to back. And then also requesting to remove item C1.
You guys got any microphones so we can hear you? Or speak up a little louder? We can't hear you.
I need a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve the requested changes. Second.
Joe made a motion to approve the regular and consent agendas as amended. Wade seconded. All those in favor? Thank you. Welcome aboard new hires. Administrators.
I would like to introduce Joanna, also known as Jody Crum. She is going to be serving as an instructional aide in this learning space, which provides opportunities for students, including some credit recovery. And Jody is coming to us as a retired teacher who's still serving in education, so we're grateful for that. She's a retired teacher from Cloverdale, and she'll be serving us now at South Pleasant.
Thank you, Mrs. Gardner.
I have one. Dina Callahan is here. She's also going to be an instructional assistant for Central Elementary. We're very excited to have her. Actually brought her on this week, so we're excited to get her started. Welcome to Central.
Item 5A, financial update.
Yeah, in your packets, you received the latest financial reports, including the cash flows and the fund reports. As reflected in those reports, we continue to track positively and toward our targeted income, expenses, and cash balances. There'll be more regarding financials in the budget presentation later today.
And legislative update, Joe Roach.
So as you all know that the legislative session for the that we just went through is finished. Now is the time when Dr. Smith and his teams are implementing those changes or trying to think about how those changes might be implemented. And as board members, we should all be getting the journal. If you haven't been getting it, we need to figure out why. But I noticed there's some really good articles in there about this particular one about some of the new laws and understanding how those apply. Some of the things I made note of is, who is subject to some of these laws, especially like the $1 building law, and reporting the building usage and those sorts of things. And it looks like, it's not really going to affect us any, but that was a good read. So just want to encourage everybody to take a look at those. Sometimes they sit around for a while for me before I get a chance to look at them, but it's just a good resource for us legislatively.
Thank you, Joe. This section is our public comment section. And so people who wish to make the board aware of suggestions, ideas, and or comments concerning items on the agenda, today's agenda, may address the board at this time. Comments which involve personnel or students must be discussed in private. Those who sign up with their address and the agenda topic. And we have one person, Ray Collier, who has 3 minutes to address the board. Mr. Collier.
I'll get her where you can hear me. one thing. You guys wanting to spend more money here, what I'll take it, 20 million, is it? Is that what it is? How much you guys want to spend? Asking to spend.
It's about 19.8 million.
How much?
About 19.8 million. But this isn't a question and answer period.
What's it for? What's it for? One thing you guys forget, we're your employers. You guys ever figure out where your tax money comes from? They raised mine quite a bit this year. And I don't even have no kids coming here. Mine's done been here. You guys run this thing in the debt, all the time. I don't think we need to spend anything. You got better facilities than most schools have. I know I deal a lot with the Amish. They don't have what you guys got. Swimming pool, tennis court, baseball, softball, football. You run it about like the government's running our country. Run it off our money and keep us broke. I think we're trying to. My time's up, but you know where I'm coming from. Maybe I just need to quit spending my tax money for you guys. Come after me, get your money. That's all I got to say.
Thank you, Mr. Collier. Item 7, new business. A is consideration of the Putnamville property sale.
In your packets is the information regarding the consideration of sale of the Putnamville property. There have been significant legal steps completed prior to bringing this to the school board. Therefore, tonight we just bring the proposal, initial proposal from Putnamville Church to acquire the property, formerly known as the Old Putnamville School Site, which is currently owned by South Putnam Community School Corporation and has been leasing to the church for an extensive period of time for the terms listed in the offer in your board packet.
So just to be clear, we are, if we make a motion tonight, it would just be to further entertain sale of the property, not necessarily to agree to any terms, anything like that.
There's not an official purchase agreement.
So we do have Linda Ross, Cheryl Berry, Joyce Hundley, and Bob Butler here. If the board has any questions for them. And also our attorney Stacy is here if you have any questions for her.
You guys have any questions? I don't know if you heard me when I asked Dr. Smith. Moving forward is just to further talk about and discuss what those agreements might look like, right?
Yeah, I've neither received a formal offer nor have I been asked to draft a formal offer. So you're
I move to proceed with the discussion of sale and transfer from of the Putnamville property to the Putnamville Church of Faith.
Second.
So Joe made the motion to proceed with the discussion of sale and transfer of the Putnamville property to the Putnamville Church of Faith. Lee seconded it. Is there any discussion before we vote? Any other questions that you may need to ask before we vote? All right, all those in favor? Okay, item B, consideration of action items relating to the 2023 bonds.
As we move forward in the process of funding the proposed project, we now have several legal steps to walk through. All related documents to the 2023 bond actions are in your board packets. We will begin by opening the hearing on 6th Amendment to lease, and then Stacey Barclay will walk us through each of those steps.
So I'll need to take a motion to open the hearing on the Sixth Amendment to lease.
I'll make a motion to open the hearing for the Sixth Amendment.
Second.
Holly made the motion to open the hearing on the Sixth Amendment to lease. Lee seconded it. All those in favor? Thank you. The motion passes. Okay. Hearing on the Sixth Amendment to lease. Stacy will explain the purpose of the Sixth Amendment to lease hearing.
All right, so talked about this a little bit at the last meeting about the various times in which we've had the lease and then it's been amended. So right now, what we're doing is we're already subject to the lease. You know, we have some of that already on the high school, middle school. What we're doing is increasing the lease rental that you guys are paying to the building corporation. And then those bond proceeds are used for the improvements that you guys decide need to be done. The increased lease rental amount and the increased collateralization is what gives the people who purchase the bonds the surety that they're backed sufficiently. So right now you're agreeing to amend your lease to add additional funds for the property you're newly leasing from the building corporation, which is part of Fillmore and high school, junior high, middle school.
Okay. Any questions for Stacy? Okay.
Thank you.
And Aaron, okay, so now I can take a motion to close the hearing on the Sixth Amendment to lease and open the hearing on the additional appropriation.
I move to close the hearing on the Sixth Amendment to lease and open the hearing on the additional appropriation.
Joe made the motion to close the hearing on the Sixth Amendment to lease and open the hearing on the additional appropriation. Wade seconded it. All those in favor? Motion carries. Okay, now Stacy Barclay will explain the purpose of the additional appropriation meeting.
So
Hearing, sorry.
So you know we've got the various funds that you guys can pull from to pay a variety of bills. The reason this is called the additional appropriation is, of course, because it is a separate stream of income. It's not part of your annual budget. It is different funds. So what you're doing is authorizing some representatives to make that additional appropriation and have the separate funds that will take care of the improvements. Basically making sure that it's clear that it's not part of your budget.
Any questions for Stacy? And no public comment for this hearing either. Okay. So I can take a motion now to close the hearing on the additional appropriation.
Move to close the hearing on the additional appropriation.
Wade made the motion to close the hearing on the additional appropriation. Holly seconded it. All those in favor? Thank you. Number 3, resolution authorizing execution of Sixth Amendment to lease.
I just want to stay here since we got 4 of these.
Yeah, you might as
Okay.
well.
So your first one is authorizing the execution of the Sixth Amendment to lease. So this is, of course, about levying the required property tax, which we've had Steeple here in all the meetings talking about tax neutral and deal with this funding. This is you guys actually amending the lease to have the bond issuers have their assurance that it is, in fact, going to be supported by Fillmore, part of it, and then this building, of course.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution authorizing execution of Sixth Amendment to lease.
I'll second.
Holly made the motion to approve the resolution authorizing execution of the Sixth Amendment to lease. Joe seconded. All those in favor? Thank you. Item 4, additional appropriation resolution.
Okay. So this resolution will actually outline the fact that you are appropriating the funds received for essentially the real estate being sold to the building corporation. This is going to specify that the funds will be in a separate construction account that has to be kept separate from all other corporate funds.
Questions for Stacy about that?
I move to approve the additional appropriation resolution.
Second.
Joe made the motion to approve the additional appropriation resolution. Lee seconded. All those in favor? Resolution assigning contract and bids to building corporation.
Okay. So as part of this process, we all know we have our building corporation, which technically will be the entity that owns this building and the portion of Fillmore that I keep mentioning. So what this does is gives our trustee bank the ability to work with the appropriate places that are providing the bids, and then as the funds and stuff come in, to put it in the proper account. Again, that separate corporate account that has to be maintained. And then for anything that requires a signature, then the building corporation, and you guys have an assignment that allows for signatures to be taken care of from this.
Okay, any questions? I'll take a motion then.
I move to approve the resolution assigning contract and bids to building corporation. Second.
Lee made the motion to approve the resolution assigning contract and bids to the building corporation. Wade seconded. All those in favor? One more. Resolution approving fourth supplement to master continuing disclosure undertaking and issuing bonds.
All right, so this one we have because of the Securities and Exchange Commission. For this sort of undertaking, before you can issue the bonds, the school corporation has to enter the supplement, which indicates that there's this new process going on. You report certain financial information regarding the amount you actually end up borrowing, what the terms ended up being, provide notice of material events. It's essentially keeping the SEC informed of the bond issuance and how it affects the school corporation.
Questions about that? And I'll take a motion.
Approve the resolution approving fourth supplement to master continuing disclosure undertaking and issuing bonds.
Second.
Wade made the motion to approve the resolution approving the fourth supplement to master continuing disclosure undertaking and issuing bonds. Joe seconded it. All those in favor? Thank you. Item C, renovation planning. Andy Miller is here with us from Fanning Howie Associates.
So I just texted Dawn, so she'll be connecting. So looks like there's some new faces here, so I'll kind of give just a quick synopsis of what we've been doing for the last few months. The board engaged Fanning Howie Associates, who I am a project executive for. We are looking at upgrades to your facilities for the corporation. We were engaged with MKS, which is Michael Kinder and Sons, construction manager, and we met with the board in June and July to engage in a study to analyze some of these wishes and wants and needs for the corporation throughout all their buildings. And today we have a priority list that we have worked through into to address some of the concerns of the corporation. These were divided originally into three groupings. One was building infrastructure. The other was learning programs and PE and athletics, and then also classroom instruction and upgrades to the classroom facilities. So we started out with this big list. There's always a big wish list that corporations work through, and we've worked through with the board. As we have come down to our schematic design estimate list, Michael MKS will provide some pricing for this. And so this is how the priorities have worked out to date. This is not the final list. This is for the board's review, in that we can look at all of these options, move things around as they are priorities, and priced out by MKS. Priority one is the auxiliary gymnasium. We have provided two options. One is a 3-court option. The other is a 2-court option. Once again, this expands the PE and athletics program. There's a lot of pressure in this building for accommodations for different groups, not only physical education, but also special education, and also the use of the building for athletics and other community programs in this local community. 3-court option, 2-court option, and the appropriate square footages that are associated with that. Also, along the lines of making sure that you address programs that need space, that are in confined spaces in the existing building. We looked at the wrestling room, a weight room, a football locker room, which I'll touch on here in just a minute, and also the renovation of displaced activities. So what that means is, as we look at these spaces and the spaces that they occupy in the current building, when they move into new construction, what does those spaces within the building get appropriated to? And those spaces would need to be renovated. And so there's a push and pull for all of these spaces as they work through the building. Priority number 3, there are some high-level roofs, especially here at the high school, that need to be addressed. They are running out of warranty and are to the point where they need to be replaced. Otherwise, you'll work into a constant maintenance and constant repair phase for all of those roofs. So those are addressed in the priority list. You can see also roof replacement at Central Elementary. Both of these roofs that we're talking about are flat roofs that are currently in a older technology, and we would come back and replace those with current membrane roofs and address any leaks or confinements, and also address any insulation to make sure that we comply with the new energy code. Let's see, so priority, how do I scroll down on this?
It's just a snapshot, so each.
Okay. As we go down, exterior athletic facilities, we had talked about your current football field, replacing that with artificial turf. That would reduce your maintenance and increase the activity on the field. That would allow practically year-round use of the field, not only for educational programs, but also for athletics. Repair and resurface of the existing 8-lane track. Currently, your track has some deficiencies that need to be addressed. There's subsistence in some of the track portions. Those would be repaired, and then the track would be resurfaced. The current annex building, which is your small locker building out on the just north of the baseball fields, they currently have a concession. They have a locker room facility and some storage facilities in there. It is in need of repair and upgrades. So one of the ideas was to, if we have new additions in the building, would be to pull those locker rooms, football locker rooms, into the building, and then allow that renovation of this annex building to accommodate cross country and a few other sports that we had discussed. And then the new football stadium bleachers and press box. The current bleacher system to the east of the football field is misplaced for competition. Everybody knows that when you sit in those bleachers and you're facing the west during competition, it's pretty blinding and inconvenient. So we were looking at placing new bleachers and press box on the west side of the building. Some of the pressures inside the building that were analyzed was the cafeteria and the auditoria portion to the building. Currently, there's a lot of pressure on performing arts to utilize that stage area, and so we were looking at an addition to the cafeteria to expand that multi-purpose space that gets used for the cafeteria and other activities. And then that subsequently would allow expansion in the stage to accommodate performing arts and some of the performance things. It's currently confined by mechanical equipment. It has older sound system and lighting in it, so which really reduces the ability to have performances on that stage. As we go down, your current pool in its condition currently requires repairs. There's the internal gutter needs to be replaced on that in order to make it effective. There's been a lot of maintenance to that component and would require an upgrade in order for it to efficiently work. We also would look at a pool heater. Currently, your body of water is not sufficiently heated for competitions. We also talked about the pool pack, replacement of that pool pack that's in disrepair. Currently, there's no dehumidification in the space, and so I don't know whether you've been to a pool competition or not, but it's pretty heated and pretty humid in that space. So that would really not only help the swimmers, but also help any spectators and anything that goes along with that competition component. There is currently no true, other than chlorine to treat the pool system. We would look at a UV pool system sanitizer that, once again, just brings up the quality of the pool water. It'll help reduce things like pool cough, a swimmer's cough, and some of those things that afflict the athletes that swim regularly in that pool. And then we had also looked at possible pool expansion, renovations, and as everybody knows, there's no true spectator portion to the pool. So if you're a parent or another athlete, or if parents come for the competing team, there is really no space for them to watch the competition. And so we would look at carving out in that existing space some area for viewing of the competitions. As we go down, these are our priorities. We are your chiller and HVAC controls here in the high school, middle school are getting towards the end of life. That's obviously very important for air conditioning and some of those things when we go in those late spring and early fall classes. Additional boilers at Central Elementary. The current boilers that are there, you have 2 boilers that are down. There is no redundancy to the system, and so the addition of 2 more boilers would allow that full capacity when the school is in use. We have additional roof replacements at the high school. Those locations are noted there. Unit ventilator replacement at the high school. The maintenance staff here does a fantastic job keeping those going, but they're really 1960s technology. And so, the comfort, the air comfort in the rooms, the air quality, and it even affects the instruction in the spaces. They're noisy, they leak, and it just affects the comfort and the instruction in those rooms. Let's see, exterior athletic items. We had talked about when we move the bleachers or install new bleachers, we'll have to look at upgraded lighting. That would get you to an LED level, which is an upgraded technology. Utility bills would go down with that lighting, but there's also an advancement in the lighting capabilities, the aiming capabilities, and we would also look at double lighting. So at the football field, you could light not only the football field, but also the baseball, softball from those standards. So it's really complementary move to allowing you to post sectionals or some of those other things that extend the use of your fields. We also looked at perimeter fencing. Some of you know that the fencing is old and needs to be replaced or upgraded in some places, and so that would need a replacement of perimeter fencing. And then some of the things that we talked about that didn't make the prioritization list, but once again, I want to emphasize that this is not a final list, and these items can squib up and down this list as to the prioritization of admin and the board as we further analyze this. Some of the items were specific classroom space and interior finishes. There are a few rooms that have suffered from some leaks from the roof, and which we're looking to repair. And so there's also some flooring materials in the building that are dated and worn. We would look at those comprehensively to make sure that we are consistent throughout the entire learning program with finishes and comfort in the classrooms. Let's see, going down to administration building. If anybody's been in the administration building, they know that it's a 1920s building. It is suffering from a lot of challenges. And so we are looking at some options, just to give some options to the administration and the school board, in that we could find a new location for a new building. We could renovate that existing building, or we could look at space in one of your facilities, be that an elementary school or the middle school, high school, to put those administrative functions in. Let's see, replacing some air handling units, upgrades to the water treatment plant, relocating the tennis courts. Currently, they're in their current position. They're a bit of a hazard for the students to cross traffic and for competitions and all of that. So we looked at that. And then there are there's pressures. Everybody needs storage, and so we know that external storage items and the gas and diesel tanks to address those and make sure that those are maintained and upheld in a particular manner. Just to outline a few things, and once again, none of this is in final design issues. We looked at the possibility of the auxiliary gym going on the south part of the building. That's labeled A. The C is the additions and renovations that would include weight room, wrestling room, and locker rooms. The B that you see on there is the possibility of making sure that we keep that south access around the building pure and okay, so that people can circulate. There's adequate parking for games and some of the things that go on. Let's see. Harder to see. I've got L, which shows the additions and renovations to the cafeteria and the auditoria. And then S up there is your pool with spectator seating and renovations for those areas. This is a note for all of the roofs that we talked about at the high school. E is the top priority. Your N and your O are a little bit extended, maybe 2 years on their warranties and their condition. Here are the upgrades that we talked about for the athletic fields. G would be the turf on the field. H would be the track renovations and upgrades. K is the bleachers and press box. And then R is the replacement of the fences around baseball, softball, and football. And then J, is it J? Sorry. Yeah, J is the annex building here on the top. And that currently houses your concessions and miscellaneous locker rooms. And then finally, these are just a few things that were on the list. F would be the replacement of the roof at Central Elementary. The unit to the west of the school could possibly be a relocated tennis court if we if we get to that priority. And then the piece out by the road would be the possibility of a future admin building if we were to go down that route. So once again, this is a study. These are pre-planning ideas. We're going to vet that list with the administration. And is Dawn on the?
No, not yet.
Okay. All right. So I can go over, and I apologize, this is a little small because there's a lot of information, but this does prioritize and start to address costs for those prioritizations, and this list goes along with a similar approach to all of these priority lists that we have labeled. I'm going to use my cheat sheet here, and I'll kind of guide you through this real quick. So number one on the list was the auxiliary gymnasium. A 3-court option could vary between $7 million and $9 million. The 2-court option would be between $5 million and $6 million. New drive around the south additions that we talked about would be a 250,000 K approach. Wrestling room and some of the weight room and football locker rooms. Collectively, that's about a $4 million project. And then there's renovation of those displaced rooms, which would be about $1 million project. And then miscellaneous roof replacements, we have pricing for those. As the school corporation knows, they've replaced some roofs already. Typically, those run in about the $1 million range to put new membrane down and make sure that those are all weathered in. Exterior athletic facilities, to put artificial turf on the football field, that is about $1.7 million.
You didn't get a figure for refurbishing the existing natural turf?
No, we didn't. That is something that we could definitely put into our priority list as an option so that everybody has those values. That would include some drainage situations. That would include.
It'd have to show everything.
Yes, right. So we can definitely add that to the list. Repair and resurface the existing 8-lane track is about a $1.2 million project. The upgrades to the annex building, refurbishing that, making sure it's structurally sound and it's weathered in, is about a $675,000 project. The bleachers and press box is about a $1 million project. Cafeteria in addition would and the stage upgrades would run about $500,000 to $600,000. And then as we get into miscellaneous things, there are some undefined things, and it's going to take additional investigation, and that's mostly the pool items. We need to really get into that and dig into that. And once that becomes a priority, understand how that fits into the budget and the priority list. So they're really undefined at this point. Chiller and HVAC control replacement. Once again, we'll have to dig into that, but I would estimate that to be about a $150,000 project. Boiler replacement, addition of boilers, will run about a $200,000 project. We have the roof replacements at the high school and both at the high school. Those are about $750,000 to $1 million projects. And then unit ventilator replacements for the high school in those classroom environments are about a $600K priority. The rest miscellaneous are really undefined. We do have numbers for what could be a new administration building, which is about $1.5 million. And then we need to investigate a little bit more about the renovating the existing building. That'll take some analysis to really dig into that. So I provide those numbers kind of quickly. I think we really need to dig into the priority list, make sure that the things that are haves and the things that are not necessarily haves get vetted out, so we understand the priorities of this. Then we can come back and look at the budget, find out where our red line is, because every project has a red line. It's what you can afford above and what you can't below, how those things shuffle in and out, and that's what we'll be doing. We'll be analyzing over the next month to bring to the board.
Thank you.
And we'll do that at our next public work session, or,
We're working on the details on the timeline right now.
okay. So, just so I understand, this list that you gave us of priorities, this is a prioritized list of priorities?
Yes.
That's the way it's written? Okay.
So what we've gone over since June, and the last board meeting that we came together, we really kind of, we started to vet those out.
Right.
And figure out where everything was lying. And then, just as an example, the Aux Gym, we knew that there was two options. We wanted to go ahead and price both those options.
Right.
But we don't know where that's going to fall. And so we need to vet that. If there are infrastructure things that we have to say, no, absolutely, that roof has to be included in this project list, we would move that up and see what pressures push other things around.
Anyone else have questions?
Thank you. Absolutely.
Consideration of updated athletic handbook.
Yeah, so in your board packets was the updated athletic handbook. As you know, from time to time, we need to make some tweaks to our handbooks and adjustments based on changes that happen all levels. So therefore, tonight we're just seeking approval of those of the updated handbook.
I move to approve the athletic handbook.
Second.
We made the motion to approve the athletic handbook. Wade seconded. All those in favor? Motion carries. Item E, presentation of the 2024 budget.
Yep. So we'll have a brief presentation tonight, put together by Dr. Penrod, who's joining us virtually. I'm going to go and go through the presentation, and then Dr. Penrod is also here for questions when we wrap up the presentation. So I'm going to stand up here. So, as you know, every year this time we come into our budget cycles, and so I just want to give you this quick update on where we are on that and kind of what that looks like moving forward. So the timeline is listed here, and so we request permission to advertise the notice in Gateway. We're going to do that tonight. When I'm wrapping this up, we'll get permission from the board to do this. DLGF. We're ongoing communication with them. And throughout the year we communicate at different times. But this time of year we communicate quite often, depending on a lot of things. Notice of public hearing entered into Gateway. So once we do the advertisement, then we will put the notice of public hearing by September 3rd. And then the notice of public hearing for the budget, bus replacement plan, the capital assets plan will be posted on the website by September 3rd. So just to give you a timeline of what is going to be coming your way. We'll have a public hearing for the 2024 budget at our September 13th meeting. We'll post the capital assets plan, the bus replacement plan on the website by the 20th. So once we get through the public hearing, we'll get that all up on the website. We will then bring the budget, the 2024 budget, capital projects, and the bus replacement plan to the board meeting on October 11th for approval. And then all the budget points. So once we get through that, that's pretty much a lot of the formality part as far as board's concerned. Then we'll move into making sure all those budget forms and all the finalizations entered into Gateway for the public can see that at that point on November 1st. And then 1782 notice of the approved budget will be received by DLGF sometime in December. It all depends on their load at that particular time. So that's the timeline that you're going to see. And like I said, a lot of this will start tonight with the approval of the advertisement. So this is kind of what this looks like in a timeline format. So you can just kind of see how that lays out over the next several months. Nice little picture that you have there. And again, this is all in your package, as you know. The framework. So this is what is required of South Putnam Community School Corporation. So we have to fill out all the state prescribed forms, and then we submit those on Gateway. And then the advertising, we have to advertise that hearing, which we talked about already, the capital assets plan, the bus replacement plan on our website. We'll hold the public hearing, and then we adopt the budget by November 1st. And then we submit all that to DLGF. The DLGF, or the Department of Local Government, will review and modify our budget. They'll set the final tax rates, and they'll deliver the budget order, which is known as the 1782 notice. So we'll get our final budget at that point. And then, similar as we did last year and the year before that, we'll advertise high, and then the rates will be and levies will jump once we get our certified net assessed valuation. So once we have all that in there. So the education fund, this is not supported by property taxes. The budget for 2024 is $8,491,027, and then included in that is 15%, up to 15% transfer over to operations, which we've done on a continuous basis since the new laws went into place. 6% increase in budget over 2023, and then according the 1782, and it can adjust that, but as of right now, it's a 6% over what we did in 23 budget. The revenue is based upon student enrollment, special education, CTE education. It's a big long formula that we get a printout of what that is. And we just follow that, and the state has developed that formula. So we had to play by their rules. And then the student ADM count is set for October 2nd, and so that will determine what that budget's going to be based on, is the student enrollment.
And preliminarily, our enrollment is up quite a bit.
And preliminary, our numbers are up from last year, yes. In the spring and the fall counts of last year. So we're up from both of those. As mentioned above, up to 15% of that budget from the education fund can be transferred to the operations fund to cover those expenses. The debt service funds, which is Fund 200, has a budget of $2,794,850. Includes general obligation bonds 2021 and 2022. And as you know the trend on those, they are paying down pretty quickly. And anticipated debt service, and it also removed the unreimbursed curriculum materials due to the new legislation that came into play that eliminated a majority of the student fees. Not all of them, but anything related to curriculum and textbook. Pension debt service funds, which is Fund 250, has a budget of $237,255, and that's the pension bonds from way back in 2004, and those are almost paid down. And then the operations fund, which is what keeps the lights on and the water flowing and all of that, combines the previous capital projects of transportation and the bus replacement. Projected property tax revenue is a little over $2.7 million. And it has some tax cap losses of $12,600. And that's that education fund to operations transfer in addition to the levy. 2024 proposed budget for operations fund is $4,122,378, which is a 4% increase, so slightly below where inflation is. And so and that's according to the House Enrolled Act of 1499. And then again, up to 15% will be transferred over from the education fund. We just like to make sure that you're aware of that is happening, so we do mention it often in our presentations. Capital assets projects plan and the bus replacement plans. The bus replacement plan, as of right now, is calling for replacing 2 buses. We're estimating about $280,000. We were a little under that on the last 2 that we bought, but you know what's going to happen over the next 12 months. Capital assets plan, 24 to 2026. Basically, you're looking at bond expenses there. And capital projects plan 2024 to 2026. Again, bond expenses that are everything that we're talking about earlier tonight is going to be related to this. Bus replacement plan looks like this. And we just kind of itemize out which buses kind of are targeted to what's going to be. And obviously, you replace the oldest ones first. So that's just pretty typical. Rainy day fund, funded through transfers of other funds, not tax levies. Requesting an additional $400,000 appropriation, which is the same as 2023. No additional appropriation like we did at the in September or earlier this year. I'm not expecting to spend the $400,000. That's just we have to put the appropriation in to have the permission to spend it, but we don't plan on spending it. Notes for 2024. It's a little early for the daily membership fee, but the state has run our budget based upon decrease in student ADM. So the budget numbers that we're working on right now was based on a decrease, and we're actually seeing the opposite of that. So these numbers could be slightly varying based on that ADM. Operation fund, we'll see an increase of 4%. And then the education fund, we'll see funding 5.7% increase per pupil, which the base foundation was last year $6,235. Now it's $6,590 per student. And the complexity increase was from 5.5% now up to $3,983. And certified net assessed valuation is yet to be released publicly. Dr. Penrod, are you there?
Yes.
Okay. I just want to make sure in case the board has any questions as we're going through this.
Yeah, one thing before questions maybe. The only reason I wasn't real comfortable putting a number on that education fund, just using kind of an estimate. I know school just started and we're still looking for a kind of a better ADM. So I put a decrease in there just to protect the school. Once we get a little bit more data as far as what ADM is going to look like, we'll increase appropriately. It sounds like you had an increase in students, so we'll increase that appropriately before we advertise.
Okay. Anyone have any questions for Dr. Penrod or Dr. Smith?
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Penrod.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate your time, and thanks for letting me join virtually.
Okay. So we need a motion.
Yeah. So now we're just asking permission tonight to approve the advertising of the 2024 budget, so we can get that process rolling.
I move to approve the advertising of the 2024 budget, capital and bus replacement plans.
I'll second.
Joe moved to approve the advertising, the 2024 budget, capital and bus replacement plans. Holly seconded. All those in favor? G, consideration of updates to classified compensation.
Yep. After last month's approval of the classified update package, we found a couple other additional changes that were needed. So therefore tonight I'm just asking for approval of those changes that I sent to you in your packets for approval.
I move to approve the classified compensation updates.
I'll second.
Wade made the motion to approve the classified compensation updates. Joe seconded. Any discussion before we vote? Okay, all those in favor? All right, other business.
Okay.
You get the fun stuff.
Yeah. Sorry you guys had to wait. But we have the privilege this evening to hear an exciting report from two teachers, Natalie Hodge and Tiffany Dixon, regarding our AP program. I'm just going to say our AP program is absolutely amazing, and you just go above and beyond. So we thank you for everything that you do, and students' amazing performance as well. So ladies, rock and roll. Let me get you up there. Hold on, that's my... Yeah, you do. Here.
I'm Tiffany Dixon. I have been here a really long time. I believe this is the start of my 18th year here at South Putnam. And I have taught AP Calculus, AB for a long time. And then last year I added BC Calculus and AP Physics 1. And so the AP program is kind of our baby, and so that's why we're here, the ones presenting this.
I'm Natalie Hodge. This is my 16th year at South Putnam. I started teaching AP biology in the 2010-2011 school year, and last year I added AP computer science principles.
And we want to say, first of all, we're going to share the results, which are awesome, but we also are even more proud of our students and our staff because we really felt like it was a big building year for our AP program because we had so many teachers teaching new subjects, and we just want to give a shout out to those teachers as well. I already said I was teaching BC Calculus and AP Physics 1, Mrs. Hodge and Mr. Zimmerman.
AP computer science principles.
And then Mrs. Henry taught AP Gov for the first time. Miss Alyssa McKee was a new teacher here and taught AP Environmental Science. Mr. Welty taught AP US History for the first time.
Ms. Jones.
Ms. Sam Jones taught both AP English classes, AP Lit and AP Lang for the first time. I think that's a lot. A lot of new teachers, and then you're going to see how great the results were, which just shows how great the staff and the students were. And I talked about this last year, but AP Tippin, we are partners with Notre Dame, and so that means that students that were enrolled in AP Math, Science, and English classes have a little extra incentive. If they scored a 3, 4, or 5 on any of those exams, they could earn $100 per test, which means a lot of these kiddos that are sitting here and some that couldn't be here tonight are going to get a check in October-ish from Notre Dame for like maybe up to $400 or more, which is really great, especially those of you heading to college. That'll be great in October. And so this is a 5-year summary, and we're super proud of that. We had 60% of kids that took a test last year scored a 3 or higher on those exams, which means they passed those exams. And then I know this is kind of hard to read, but we had 100 students that took an AP exam, and there were 207 exams taken. And if you just look at the year before, we actually had 11 more students, but only 1 more exam, which means our kids were taking multiple classes, which was a really tough schedule for a lot of them. And again, if you look across at the third row, which is the number of students that scored a 3 or higher, you can see that over the past 5 years, we just keep increasing not only the number of classes we're offering, not only the number of tests that are being taken, but the number of tests that are actually earning college credit that can be used in any college in the United States. And so those percentages, those numbers just keep increasing. And so we're, again, really proud of our students. And so the reason that we invited you here tonight is to honor the kids that showed even exceptional performance on these exams. And through College Board, they are designated an AP Scholar with honor, or an AP Scholar with distinction. And we're going to talk about these and then call up, if you're here tonight and we call up your name, please come up and get a certificate to just show how proud of you we are. AP Scholars are granted to students who score a 3 or higher on 3 or more exams. Quite a few people that are in this AP Scholar list tonight are current seniors, which means they are enrolled in even more classes this year, and probably they will be one of the other distinctions next year. So I'm just going to say these, I think.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Right?
Wait. Yeah.
Or should we show the list yet? Oh, yeah. We better show this first before we say it. Thanks. It's been a long night. A long day. This is, again, how awesome our kids performed this year. This is the 5-year summary of kids that got those distinctions. And again, super proud of these kids, especially like last year and this year. You can see compared to the other 3 how many kids are scoring a 3 or higher on multiple exams. And this year, if you look at the yellowish gold column, that is the highest one, which is AP Honors with Distinction. And we had the most that we've ever had in South Putnam history this year. And so, again, just super, super proud of these kids, and we wanted to honor you and let your parents know how great you are as well. So these are the list of kids, and then I'll kind of go back and talk about the honor and with distinction. And the with distinction people, I'm going to call you out specifically of how many exams you took and your average score, because you're amazing. But if you aren't here, I guess I shouldn't talk to you. Kylie Arnold is an AP scholar. Kaylee Barnard.
We're gonna want a picture.
Yeah. Okay. Kelsey Custis.
She couldn't be here tonight.
Elena Emmerich. Elena. Megan Frazier. Peyton Freeman. Evan Hinkle. Oh, I skipped Julia.
Yeah.
Evan Hinkle. Sorry.
So proud of you, Evan.
Julia Gabbard.
I don't think so.
Lincoln Hostetler. Kaylee Hodge. Amelia Jester. Wyatt Kendall. Madison Newby.
Maddie.
And Jade Fry.
Congratulations, Miss Maddie.
Congratulations. Sorry. We're gonna just have to do a
yeah.
picture now.
Yeah, get in there. Nice job, kids. Good job. And then the next award that College Board gives out for where AP scores is the AP Scholar with Honor Award. And this award goes to students who have earned an average of 3.25 on all AP exams taken, as well as scores of 3 or higher on 4 or more exams. And so we would like to award Aiden Beatles with the AP Keaton Chu. Stevie Keenan. And finally, we have Corey York, who isn't with us tonight. Nice job, kids.
And the last one is the AP Honors with Distinction, which is the highest honor that College Board gives out. And this is for students earning at least an average score of 3.5 on all AP exams taken and scores of 3 or higher on 5 or more of these exams. But every single student on this list has taken more than 5 exams and their average score was higher than 3.5. So before I call them up, I'm going to say I'll say their name and then their average score and how many exams they took, because I just want you to see how impressive these children are. And so the first is Megan Arnold, and her average score was 4.25. 5 is the highest you can get, and she took a total of 8 AP exams in her Daniel Button, he had an average score of 3.78, and he took 9 AP exams in his high school career. Brody Carr had an average score of 4.13 on his all these exams, and he took a total of 8 exams as well. Jackson Heyman, an average of 4, 8 exams. Taylor Pete had an average of 3.57 and took 7 exams. And Caroline Hodge is our only current senior that is in this honor already with distinction, and she has taken 6 exams and has an average of 4, but she's taking 4 more classes this year, which means she could have a total of 10 exams next year. Ava Watson had an average of 4.33, and she took 6 exams. And last but certainly not least is Duncan York, who had an average score of 4.4, and he took a total of 10 exams. Yeah, that's all we got. Thank you. It's the first day of school, too. That's what I'm on. Thank you, guys. Nice job.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies and students. Oh, you know, I believe.
Yep.
Superintendent's report.
Yep, I'll be brief. It's been a long day. Students' first day back to school, and teachers been here all week working hard. So basically, what I want to report tonight is that all the preparation and hard work that's done by our administrative teams and our maintenance teams and our teachers and support staff, very evident today. Today went off without hardly any major issues whatsoever. Obviously, there's going to be hiccups on things, but wow, the school presented well. The transportation worked well. Things flowed really well today. So, and on that note, I mean, the custodial staff did amazing things this summer, and the buildings just looked absolutely incredible. I mean, the floors shine more than I've seen. I mean, they were very, very nice. So they just need all the praise they can get. They just did absolutely amazing things. Transportation was amazing as well. Very functional. Very just no issues. Athletics obviously is underway. All that summer preparation is starting to pay off, and we're getting ready to head into that competition season. So exciting time for those coaches and students, athletes. Just a quick update on the last year's project, the one we're wrapping up. So just some last few items. We're getting really close to being done on our project that's been going on for the last 18 months. So we're all operational, but there's some few little tweaks here and there, HVAC system controls, those types of things, and some little things, but things are looking great. It's all functional. We're in the spaces, which is absolutely amazing. So it's nice to see teachers and students in their homes now, not just in a temporary spot. And I said this yesterday in our all-staff meeting to the entire corporation, but there just seems to be an incredible sense of pride and excitement at South Putnam, and we can see our vision of all the things we've been working on and putting together, and all that hard work and labor just really starting to come to fruition. And I just see some very exciting things happening this year, educationally, and other opportunities for our students. So it's just a great time here at South Putnam. Staff, students all just seem to be working really well together. And there's the last thing. I mean, we're just one big South Putnam family, and everyone plays a very important part, all the way from the school board and every other position throughout the district. And so it's really coming together, and it's always been, but this year just seems to be just a great place to work and learn and do what we do. And working together, building on those successful traditions and building those innovations as we move forward. So just a lot of hard work coming together, and it feels really good. But I'm going to end with this, as I do, but really, all of these things that we've done, all these hard efforts and work that we've put together, it really, truly is a great day to be an Eagle. So thank you.
I would like to add just a little bit to that. This week, I participated in a roundtable of school board presidents, and we talked about things like the ESSER monies that are drying up and collective bargaining. And what I want to say is how fortunate we are. There was confirmation of how fortunate we are to have the teachers we have and to have the superintendent we have. So it was a good meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so if there's nothing further. Oh, okay.
I know firsthand all the hard work that teachers and administrators put in to start a school year. I've seen it. I've lived part of it, and you guys are awesome. Thanks.
Okay. If there's nothing further, we will adjourn. Meeting's adjourned.